Vocabulary on the SAT is now more important than ever before. When College Board redesigned the test last year in 2023, there was a resurgence of vocabulary words in the first part of each module. Before that, on the paper test, you didn't need to know definitions of words. You could just figure out what word needed to go in the blank based on the context. Even though College Board still calls these questions words and context questions, they're really straight vocabulary questions where you need to know the meaning of the words. Now, this is difficult if you don't read a lot. So I think that an epidemic in our country and in the world in general is we just don't read enough. So if you have a friend or a test prep coach that's telling you as you're prepping for the SAT in 10th or 11th grade that you should start reading more books, I hate to say it, guys, but it's just too late in the game for that. Fortunately, I have 5 strategies I'm going to teach you in this video to help increase your success rate substantially on the SAT vocabulary questions so that you can maximize your points on the next test. So get comfy, grab a snack, and be ready to take some notes. All right, guys, before I get started with the strategies, I want to just say that all of these strategies and an entire chapter is devoted to vocabulary in our SAT English workbook, which I'm actually giving away for free right now. So if you head to our website, subscribe to our email list, we will send you a copy for free. I will put a link up here to our website. Go do that now. All right, strategy number 1 is you can break a word down into its parts. So a lot of the words that we have in English are derived from Greek and Latin roots. If you understand prefixes, suffixes, and roots really well, you don't need to memorize 20,000 words. You just need to memorize a smaller subset of roots, prefixes, and suffixes. So in that workbook I just mentioned that we're giving away for free, I actually have a nice list of roots, prefixes, and suffixes that you can study so you can figure out a word's meaning by breaking it down. All right, so let me give you an example. Let's look at the word philanthropist together. Phil is a root that actually means love. If you think about other words with the root Phil in them, Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love. And then you also have philosophy, which is the love of learning. Soph is actually the root for learning. Then we have another root in the word anthro, which means mankind. Anthropology is actually the study of mankind. And then ist on the end is a suffix that basically means it's a person. I mean, think about it. Dentist, orthodontist, there's a lot of professions of people that end in ist. So when you put it all together, a philanthropist is a lover of mankind, and essentially they donate money to charities and things of that nature. All right, now I'm going to put up a word that is super popular right now. I've seen it come up on the test. As you guys know, I've sat in on a couple official tests. Inseparable. Now, when my students see this word, they are at a loss, but it's really easy if you break it down. In is a prefix in front of the word that means not. Supper or super essentially means to overcome. Like if you think about you supersede something, you end up going over it. And then able is a suffix, which just means able. So if we put it all together, inseparable means not able to be overcome. Okay. So use linguistics, guys. It makes it so much easier to figure out the meaning of a word if you don't know the definition. All right, strategy number 2 is to look for the definition of the word somewhere in the text. There are key indicators of where a definition may be located. And the biggest one is unique punctuation marks. So if you have a blank and then you have a semicolon after it, the definition will come then after the semicolon. So this also goes in the reverse. If you have a bunch of text and then a colon, and then the blank is after the colon, that means the definition comes before the colon. All right, let's look at this example from an official College Board question. I pulled it from the question bank. It says, for her 2021 art installation anthem, Wu Sang joined forces with singer and composer Beverly Glenn Copeland to produce a piece that critics found truly blank. Ooh, okay. So I have the blank, and then check it out. Right after it, we've got a semicolon. Or not a semicolon, sorry. We got a colon, a colon, a colon. That means our definition is going to come somewhere right after it. So when I'm looking at this question, when they're talking about the blank is basically describing how critics found the piece. So I want to see how they feel after the colon. It says they praised Sang. So I know that I need a word that basically is in line with praised. Praised is the synonym or the definition in this case. When I look at all of the answer choices, there are some of them that just don't really fall in line with praised. The only word that I see that a word could be praised for is if it's inventive. So if we keep going to look into more of the text, what is another word that means inventive? Well, shortly after the praise part, we see it says it transformed, transforming a museum. That is also a synonym, meaning it's inventive. It completely changed it. It sounds like super creative. So there you go. So again, look for unique punctuation. The definition is going to be nearby. All right, guys, real quick, that subscribe button under this video? Studies have shown that students that hit that subscribe button and notification bell on my channel score on average 50 points higher on the SAT than those that don't. If you don't believe me, I will send you the empirical research on it. But in the meantime, go ahead and hit that button. All right, let's talk about strategy number 3. This strategy is great if you don't know a lot of the words that are provided. You can play positive, negative. So just read the text, figure out if you need a positive or a negative word in the blank, and then go through all the answers and figure out how they sound to you. Do they sound positive or negative? Let me demonstrate. So we have, it is by no means a blank to recognize the influence of Dutch painter HB. See how I just actually changed his name to initials, by the way? I don't want to pronounce that long name. It's just going to throw me off in my reading. So it is by no means blank to recognize the influence of Dutch painter HB on AB's paintings. Indeed, B himself cites Bosch as an inspiration. Okay. Look, check this out. We have another unique punctuation mark right here. So what that means for us is it means that the definition is going to be nearby, probably after the semicolon. And this is a reinforcer, so they're not contrasting. So literally what we see in the next part is going to be in line with what we need on the first side. The descriptive word is inspiration, which is positive. Okay, so the funny thing is I'm thinking, okay, I need a positive word in the blank, but you have to be careful. Sometimes they'll be sneaky. Do you see how they said it is by no means? That means we have a negative. So it's just like in math, you guys, a double negative makes a positive. We need a negative word here. If we have two negatives, it'll make a positive. So it is by no means unimportant. That's the only negative word in all of the answer choices. All right, if you're finding this video helpful so far, show me some love, hit the like button below. All right, strategy number 4, know your high probability vocab words. So it's no secret that a lot of questions are repeating on this new variation of the SAT. And I see myself words coming up over and over and over again. For example, the word innocuous has come up at least 2 to 3 times on various tests, whether they're practice tests or real tests for me. So let's talk about the word innocuous, right? That is a word that basically means harmless. So, keep that in the back of your mind if you see that again, because I see a lot of students struggling and getting that one wrong. What's helpful is if you can think about where you've heard the word in context before. So, for instance, during COVID, they kept describing the vaccine as innocuous because they wanted people to get it. The next word I've seen come up 2 to 3 times is the word buttress. What's interesting on the SAT is they often will make a word be correct in a context, but they'll use a secondary or tertiary meaning of the word, not the primary way you think of the word being used. So with buttress, typically it's a word used for architecture, but on the test, they've been using it in a secondary way, meaning to support. So there was one example where they actually talked about buttressing the king's throne. Now, another word I've seen come up is the word preclude. And I think that the SAT likes to keep using this word because it's one of those words that's sneaky tricky. You can't break it down into its parts. Students misidentify the word preclude to mean coming before because of the PRE in front. Pre usually means before. However, preclude means to prevent. So keep that in mind. So in our workbook, we have a whole list of high probability SAT words. Again, I will link up here so you can go grab that for free when you sign up for our email list on our website. What I would also suggest is do every single words and context question you can in the question bank and on the Blue Book tests, and keep tabs on the words that you see come up because there's a good chance you could see them again. All right, now to my final strategy. Strategy number 5. Make a list of words you don't know and keep track of them. So what I like to do is I have my students create a Google Doc. And anytime we're prepping together and they encounter a word that they don't know, I have them add the word to the Google Doc along with the definition. This does not need to be limited to the words and context question answer choices. If you encounter a word on a reading passage that you don't know, add it to the doc, because SAT words tend to repeat. And the interesting thing is sometimes I've seen a word show up on a reading passage and then later it shows up as a word in context answer. So you just want to be ready for anything. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to link below in the description to a document that one of my students created as I was working with him. It's really awesome, and I think it's a good start for you. So just make a copy of it, and then you can add your own words to the list as you go. Now, what I would also do is I would quiz him on the words sometimes during our sessions. So if he knew the word, I would make it green. If he didn't know the word, I would make it red. And then I would go back through and quiz him on all the red words again. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Just a heads up, I have a full exclusive vocabulary lesson in my digital SAT self-paced course. So if you like this video and you found it helpful and you want to dive into the vocabulary in more depth and detail, definitely sign up for that. Since you're a YouTube viewer of mine, I'm giving you a special promo code where you can get $50 off the course if you go today. I will link it up here. Use the promo 50 off at checkout. All right, guys, until next time, happy prepping.